Welcome to Binge Guide. The next show, I'm Andrew. With me today is Victoria. Hey, everyone.
Hi, everyone. So, Andrew, we are going to be taking a deep dive today into a new series that has a lot of people talking. It's based on a book series that was actually very popular when it first came out. Fallen. Do you remember Fallen?
Oh, yeah, Fallen. I think that was like a huge hit back in the day.
It was a huge hit. 2009, Lauren Cate's Fallen series. And it's interesting because it actually had a film adaptation back in 2016.
Oh, really?
That didn't really do well. This adaptation is an 8-part fantasy series. It actually was released initially in 2024 on a Brazilian streaming service, Globoplay, but it's now available in North America on Sundance Now and AMC as of this past February. So we're going to take a look at what makes this adaptation so noteworthy.
Okay, cool. So we both read the book and seen the series, right?
Yes.
So let's jump right in. At the center of this story is Lucinda Luce Price. She's sent to Sworden Cross, which is not your average kind of school.
No, it's described as a facility for young criminals and outcasts. And when Luce arrives, she's haunted by these fragmented memories of fire and shadows. And it kind of hints at a pretty significant trauma in her past. That's connected to why she is at this place, Sworden Cross.
Yeah, and right away she encounters two mysterious figures. Cam, who is played by Timothy Innes, and Daniel, played by Geese Bloom. And she has this weird, intense feeling of familiarity with them both. Like she's met them before, even though she hasn't.
Yes, it's like this instant connection, but also a sort of unsettling feeling that she gets, like she's remembering something that she's forgotten. Yeah. And that feeling of deja vu really drives the entire series.
Right. Okay, so one thing that I thought was really interesting, especially for, anyone who has read the book, is that they seem to be taking some liberties with how the story is told in the series. It's not like a direct adaptation.
Yeah, they're definitely taking a more dynamic approach, especially when it comes to revealing information to the audience. And in the series, we learn that Daniel is also in the same position as Luce, where he needs to remember their shared past. In the books, he already was fully aware.
Oh, wow. So that's like a huge change.
It's a huge change, and it means that they're both kind of on this journey of rediscovery together.
Right.
And it really heightens that romantic tension and that overall mystery throughout the series.
Yeah, I can see how that would work. Another thing that I thought was different, the series really portrays the students at Sworden Cross as being kind of unaware of the supernatural element behind it all.
Yeah, in the novels, a lot of the students were aware of their situation and like the larger context. But in the series, they are presented as subjects in this almost cult-like environment.
Wow, that's creepy.
It is, and it makes you think about, is there someone who's pulling the strings? What is their motivation?
Yeah, I would not want to go to Sworden Cross. So the actor that played these characters, they seem to do a really good job.
They do, especially Jessica Alexander and Geese Bloom. They really do have that spellbinding chemistry on screen, which is crucial, because it's a romance.
Absolutely.
Some of the connections with the rest of the cast feel a little bit forced at times, maybe a little too familiar. But Sarah Niles, who plays both Mrs. Miriam and Miss Sophia, she is fantastic. Her performance is so eerie, and she really just brings this unnerving feeling to both of the roles that she plays.
So as a fan of the books, I was really interested to see how they handled the character of Penn, who is played by Esme Kingdom, because she was definitely a fan favorite, but her arc was relatively short in the novels.
Right. It seems that they have expanded her storyline quite a bit for the series, which I think fans will really enjoy. Molly and Ariane, played by Maura Bird and Josephine Koenig. Those are also two really complex characters that are driving the series forward.
Okay, so let's talk about the themes in the show. One thing that really stood out to me was how they portrayed the religious element. It seemed much more overt and almost cult-like.
Yeah, it's a significant departure from the novels where the religious element was more tied to traditional Christian elements. This time they're really leaning into this idea of religious manipulation.
Right. I actually wrote down a few things that reminded me of other shows, like the repetition of the prayers. It's very similar to The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
And then the references to like old texts and prophecies. It felt a little bit like the Da Vinci Code.
Right. It's interesting how they're blending these different genres. You've got the supernatural romance, but then you also have elements of like dystopian fiction and mystery thriller.
Exactly.
And I did read one review that suggested that the blending of genres might actually be diluting the impact of the mystical elements a little bit, like they're revealing too much too soon.
Right. So I think another interesting change is that they've incorporated some more modern elements into this world, like drones and electric weapons.
Yes.
Which kind of moves it away from that sort of classic dark academia feel of the original books.
Right, it definitely makes it feel more contemporary.
Yeah.
But it might alienate some fans who appreciated that kind of timeless Gothic aesthetic of the original material.
So just from a production standpoint, this is quite an international production.
It is. Produced by Silver Reel in collaboration with Night Train Media, and the global distribution is being handled by Echo Rights. It's already secured deals across the US on Sundance Now, in Canada on Showcase and Stack TV, Europe, Middle East, North Africa, New Zealand, and parts of Eastern Europe.
Wow, that's amazing. So the trailer for the series,
Mm-hmm.
I think it gives us a really good sense of what to expect.
Yeah, it opens with Luce being found guilty of manslaughter and being sent to Sworden Cross. And then we see her first encounter with Daniel. There's that line, "I think I know you from before," which immediately sets up that there's a lot more to their relationship than meets the eye.
Right, and you can really feel that sense of mystery and tension in the trailer.
Yeah, and there are glimpses of the potential supernatural elements and the dangers at Sworden Cross, but it doesn't really give away too much of the plot. That leaves you wanting more.
So overall, I think this adaptation of Fallen is a pretty significant reimagining of the story.
Yeah, it's not a direct translation of the books, but it does seem to capture the essence of the original material while also bringing some fresh ideas to the table.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a new fantasy series to binge, this might be a really good option,
I agree.
especially if you like shows that blend romance, mystery, and a little bit of dystopian fiction.
Yes.
So that is our deep dive into Fallen. Be sure to tune in next time to Binge Guide, the next show for more in-depth explorations into the latest films and TV series.
Thanks for joining us, everyone.
And happy binging!